So, for 5 years, uh, me and Chris shared lunch together, and we would always go to lunch together to talk about life, to talk about comic books, to talk about wrestling, um, to decompress from the stresses of working in a warehouse, of the stresses of city life, and just things that were on our things that were in our head. Um, and we would go to, I mean, like we worked in a warehouse for together for 5 years. I worked there for 5 years, and he worked there for a little bit longer. But you know, going to the same places over and over again really became tiring. But the most I will get out of that, my takeaway from this, from those lunches, were our conversations, and with each conversation, I really benefited from like his perspective on life, and how he framed things around him in his own environment, in his own world. And it was good for me to learn about these different perspectives, because so often I get encapsulated in my own bubble, where I don't think about the repercussions or other people's perspectives in life. And he really helped guide my perspective on the overall world around me. Chris, I'm gonna miss you so much, man. Like, you know, uh, from 2009 to now, like 11 years, you've been that one constant in my life. You know, like, you were the closest friend I've had these past 11 years. So many things have changed around me, like my family, the composition of my family, like my immediate family, and even my extended family. The composition of that has changed. But you were that one constant where I could talk about comic books, and we could talk about wrestling, and we could talk about life, and you were just there, and you were a great listener and a great friend, and you never judged me, or you never judged like the experiences that I had in my life as belittling or something that was underneath you. You always made time for me as a friend, and I'm gonna miss that so much. You're the only friend that I made from work that's stuck in my life. I've had a number of odd jobs throughout my life, but you were that one constant who, like, we had so many similar interests, and I'm just in shock. These last 72 hours have been some of the worst hours in my life, because I already miss you, and I'm gonna miss talking about like nerdy stuff, because you were the one of the few people that I could talk about that on a really like serious level. And I'm just sad that you're not going to be in my life anymore. But your impact is going to be lasting. I mean, I'm 36 now. I met you when I was 25, and I've learned so much about different things that you went through, experiences that you wanted to share, as an artist, as as a husband, as a friend, as a wrestling fan. Like you never were hesitant to share things about your life, to mentor me and guide me, and I'll always be grateful for that. And whenever I go to like a Wendy's or a Taco Bell, because we would go to like all of these junk food chains for our lunch periods, just to decompress and have a different environment outside of a warehouse, a closed off warehouse. But whenever I go to one of these chains, I'm going to think about you, and I'm going to think about our conversations and updating each other on our lives. I just went to a Wendy's right now, and this is not a sponsored video, by the way. Not that I'm to that point, but like, like whenever I go to like a Taco Bell or Wendy's or McDonald's, wherever, like whatever fast food chain it is, like I remember the conversations we had when we worked together, and when you were well enough to still go to these places. Because when we found out that you had terminal cancer, I knew that like the dynamic was going to be different, and that we wouldn't be able to go to these places anymore. But our awesome conversations continued, and I continued to be your friend, and and your brother. Like you were the closest thing to an older brother to me, because I didn't have the privilege of getting to know my biological brother as well as I wanted to. But you were that driving force in my life, where you were supportive and you never judged. And I'll miss that. I'll miss you. I can't even imagine what Annie is going through, and these last 72 hours. But I know you were a great husband to her, and I know you were all about family, because that's what you would beam about every day, is that how much you loved your wife and how much you loved spending time with her. One day we'll see each other again. Yeah. Take care, brother. What's going on, y'all? It's Thursday morning. I got a couple of packages in the mail. One from one of my homies on YouTube and in Instagram. Really cool dude. Got this from Ayindi on YouTube. He has his own channel, close to 1,000 followers. Go follow him. Really cool guy. Thanks for shipping this to me, Corey. And I got this Rusev WWE Elite Rusev Day. Really awesome to have this. I'm really happy to finally get this. This is the premium Rusev for me, because I've got this Rusev's been in my collection for like the last 3 years, and it's a dope figure. I'm not gonna sell it, but I think I needed a Rusev Day figure, so I'm gonna open this guy up, and I'm gonna try to open up the Shang-Chi. Yeah, it's been a wild ride these last few days. If you haven't seen earlier in my video, I was talking about how my close friend of 11 years just passed away last week, and just been on a roller coaster emotionally, but I think getting a little bit better. But one of the things that he enjoyed before he passed away was collecting action figures. And he said that collecting action figures is the thing that made him feel like he was alive, because of the extent of his illness, the cancer that he was dealing with. For the better part of 2 years, he was living in isolation with his wife, because he could not be mobile, and he could not walk for long periods of time. He could not really be active because of the extent of the illness. And so one of the many nerdy interests that we shared as close friends was we went to comic book conventions, we went to flea markets, we talked about wrestling extensively. That was our biggest bond. He was a comic book writer, an artist. He had his own comic book series, his independent comic book series, and just a huge loss for Chicago, for this world, for my life especially, because I'm gonna miss him deeply. But toys is one of the things that we shared as really close friends, is that we would have a bond through these things, collecting these things, and he was human. We didn't agree on everything. Politics we didn't agree on. We didn't agree on many different aspects of outlooks of life. But that's a cool thing about being human, right? Is finding the unities that you have in another person, and finding those common interests. And that's what we had. We had those common interests in wrestling and action figures and toys and stuff like that. So here I am in quarantine, opening these action figures, because it reminds me of him, and it's something that we share together. So yeah, this is for you, Chris. So I'm opening this WWE Elite Rusev figure. I think this is Series 65. I'm probably going to keep the box, just because this is going to be his last action figure since he left the company. He was released about a couple weeks ago. That tray shot. It's a really cool accessory. awesome. And he just never got a fair shake in WWE. Like, Rusev was one of their most talented wrestlers. He should have been a main eventer, but I swear he's gonna either go to NJPW or AEW or Impact, or he's gonna go to all three. You know, he's that talented. I'm gonna definitely find that Aiden English. Gotta find that, and then I gotta find a Lana, because I gotta find a Lana with Lana Day, because they had that whole act going, and it was just one of the best. It was one of the best gimmicks during that time. Let's try to get that shirt on there. I'm gonna be struggling with this. Alright, so I finally got it on him. You definitely have to pull the sleeves all the way to the neck. Make it almost like a cutoff shirt, but there you go, awesome. Then you have the key to a city, if y'all can see that. And then I'm not going to take these out, but you get an extra pair of hands, which is cool. Awesome. Happy to get that. Move this to the side. Maybe I'll do a little character. This is still a dope figure, but this is definitely improvement. If you could see like the upgrades in the technology for the face. There. And then there. Huge difference. Awesome. One of my favorite wrestlers. Maybe of all time. Like, depending on what his run is going to be. Moving forward, he's just that talented, you know what I mean? That talented. So we're gonna open up Shang-Chi. I've been looking forward to this figure for a while. I might collect this whole set, we'll see. But thank you again, Corey. This was an awesome pickup. This is the second figure that Ayindi or Corey has sent to me. So I really appreciate it. Like, you're like the only YouTuber that like helps me out, which is like awesome, because like you're that real of a dude, and I really appreciate it. Just like the cool background. Sometimes I keep these backgrounds for like toy photography. So we're gonna pop this guy out and take a look at him. Hopefully the joints aren't loose. Hasbro has a problem with loose joints with their like new figures, so let's pop this guy out. Alright, so let's check the joints on this guy. So he has the butterfly joints in the back. Yeah, not bad. It's not loose, not super tight either. You got ratchet joints on the shoulders, which is good. And you got the double joints. I think these might be ratchet too. Yep, ratchet joints. Check both of them. That's good. It's a little looser, but not super loose. And then that's good. Ratchet joints on the knees, hopefully good. Double joints. Let's check the other side. Good. And ab crunch. That's also a ratchet too. Good. Good. And a little ball joint for the head. Awesome. Awesome figure. I'm gonna have so much fun taking pictures of this guy. It's really cool to have like an Asian Marvel legend, and I could say that because I'm Asian, and you could say that too, as long as you're not disrespectful. But for me, this is like really special. although I am not Chinese, I'm Filipino. It's cool to see like a figure that is like close, like in like Southeast Asia. Like as like an Asian, I'm pretty happy to have this figure. And I think like if ever I were to find more of these in the wild, I'll probably do more customs to make like something like a Filipino style character, because that's something that I would love to do. But I'm gonna appreciate this figure because it's really awesome to have like this Bruce Lee inspired character. Really awesome. And look at this. Awesome figure. I'm pretty cool haul. I got this on eBay, and then I got this from my homie on YouTube. As I said, like, toy collecting is such a really cool hobby to have. As you can tell, I woke up, like my hair's all messed up, but I just woke up like an hour ago. But like my friend Chris has been on my mind a lot lately. It's only been a week since he passed away, and you know, there's not gonna be a day that goes by where I don't think about like him and his family. And you know, whenever I see toys, I'm gonna think about him and think about like that's something that we shared, and that's something that we bonded over. And it's just, you know, that's the difficulty of life, right? Like when something difficult like this happens, life has to keep moving, regardless if I want to or you want to. It just keeps on moving no matter what, right? But I think, you know, like if we actively take the time to think about the people in our lives that we cherish, especially the ones that we lost, you know, then we control like the time that we have, because time is our most valuable resource. You know, we could always make more money, we could always consume more shoes or clothes or toys, but the more we manage our time, the more we have control of our lives, and the more we could use it to our advantage, and create quality time for our loved ones, which is the most important thing. So yeah, man, Chris, I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you a lot, dude. You were my closest friend these last 11 years of my life. Like, a good portion of my adult life was like getting to know you and your family. And it's just gonna be hard continuing life without you, and having you as a big influence in what I do, and leaning on you for support as a good friend, a really great friend, like one of the best, if not the best. I'm gonna miss you a lot, man. I hope you're looking down on me and from heaven, and just watching over my family and your family. I'm gonna miss you a lot, bro. I'm gonna miss you a lot. So until next time, I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my year's videos to Chris. You know, if at least a year. You know, just all the rest of my videos just to your memory, bro. I'm gonna miss you.